we want our guys to not tap into the ego of cool shots, but to tap into what does it mean to capture worship.
And I think our goal as creatives has always been to challenge ourselves to do the next, greatest thing.
Hey folks, it's Brian Blackmore with Church Production Magazine here. Well, most of us know Bethel for their music, but it's hard to separate the music from the YouTube videos. So while thousands of church musicians are trying to get the Bethel sound, many church creative and production teams are also trying to achieve the Bethel Look. So here to talk about the Bethel Look and a whole lot more, we have Jesse Maitland. He's the broadcast director and production coordinator at Bethel Church. And Drake Kelch, he's the lead system designer at Octane AV and the former production manager at Bethel Church. So welcome, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
Jesse, so let's start with you. What is the Bethel Look?
Yeah, I think Bethel definitely has been on a journey in developing production. And I think it comes from this desire to not, typically in broadcast we would say to good coverage or to capture what's happening. And we really wanted to challenge ourselves to take that further to where our viewers would experience the immersive experience as if they were in the room with us. I think one of the things we've done really well is bring cinema into a broadcast environment, and people are really are experiencing this more authentic experience even at home in their living room. Drake,
I've heard it said that Bethel's goal with their videos is to be better than broadcast. What does that mean, and why was that a goal?
Yeah, I think to tie into what Jesse was saying, we really got bored of the traditional broadcast style that you see in a lot of sports and a lot of things online. And yeah, I wanted to introduce more of the cinematic, almost music video, concert film live to the air. And I think Jesse and I were both on the same page when we were talking about this of we're a little bit bored of just the traditional coverage that we get of, capturing the shot, and let's get more into the cinematic world with what we're filming and try to create that more immersive environment for people at home watching. And I think especially with 2020, when that whole thing hit, it's people were at home watching more. And so how can we make this more engaging to watch?
Yeah, and I think also just to speak on that a little bit more, we all have an option. We can do the minimum, or we can really challenge ourselves. And I think that's where we've really done well is we didn't spend more money or more resources. We took what we had, we leaned in, and really postured ourselves in a way to how do we serve our viewers, how do we serve our body at the best of our ability, and what does it mean to step into true creativity, leveraging every single bit of what we have.
And I think our goal as creatives has always been to challenge ourselves to do the next, greatest thing per se. And it's not about the fame or anything like that. It's about challenging ourselves to keep going the next step, keep going further into what we can achieve. And, when we saw this opportunity to be able to change how we're broadcasting from a traditional broadcast into a more cinematic broadcast, we dove right in to, change that. And it took, changing gear settings and equipment settings, things like that, but then also just training and utilizing the team differently.
We were talking earlier, and you told me, gear is important, but it really is the culture of the video production team is vital to what you guys are doing. Can each of you, tell me a little bit more about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm sure Jesse has a lot more to say about it than I do, but it is. There's a lot of your team, building the relationship with your team, building that core foundation with them, and also providing the vision that they can come alongside and partner with. So it's not just day in, day out, we're doing the same thing. We're going to work, clocking hours, which that is a little bit different than most churches. Bethel's video team is paid. 99% of them are paid. So, the culture can be a little bit different because it's not all volunteers like a lot of churches are. But I would say creating that vision of here's what we're going for, this is what we're striving to accomplish, and allowing them to come around that vision to help accomplish it.
Yeah, I would actually speak to that too. Starting off with the financial part, we're blessed to be able to pay our people something, but it's always important to me that people know that even though we have a paid staff, they're still making great sacrifice. And a lot of people like to think payment means it's no longer worship, but the reality is our team is 100% invested, and their hearts are invested in the work that they do. We pay them so they're able to focus and continue that growth and attitude and that posture of what does it look like to worship and praise, to give 100% every single day, even when it's even when it's hard and the days where it's extra juicy, if you will. Worship is everything. We would not be able to. We definitely would not be able to do what we do if we weren't postured in a position of worship. And what that means is, practically, we're training our guys to partner with Holy Spirit, to partner with what's happening in the room, to be sensitive, not to just what the director's saying, but to what's happening around them. And we really want people to anticipate, where is God going to be? Where is God moving? And to know where to point the camera, honestly. But, it's beautiful. And I think when you're representing people online who are watching, they're not in the room, so you are their representative. You're an ambassador to their encounter. You are standing in the gap, and you're their connection. You're the link. And we want our guys to not tap into the ego of cool shots, but to tap into what does it mean to capture worship 100% with their whole body, with their whole, bringing every bit of their offering, every part of their DNA, right? So we're fully present and fully aligned with what's happening. And when that happens, we know when to have enough movement and how to do camera style and composition, and we start working as a team and in synergy. And so all this stuff just starts to build and speak into this culture of worship and praise, where we hold each other to an extremely high standard, where we love Jesus and we love him through our craft.
What sort of training do you guys offer your paid and your volunteer staff that helps align or keep consistency with regards to the Bethel Look?
I think most of the staff members that we have now actually at one point started as a volunteer. And that was just, helping out on Sundays, helping out with the conference, that kind of thing. The training came from, I think we kind of still do this today, Jesse, if you can correct me, but we do an approach where we have a volunteer shadowing a paid operator in different positions. So that could be the main follow cam, on the jib, on the stage. And then after a couple weeks of shadowing a paid camera operator, they switch to where now that volunteer is operating the camera, and that paid operator is now standing behind them to help coach them and guide them. They usually have a private comm channel so they can talk directly to each other and help that. And then that will go for a couple weeks until they're feeling comfortable and we're feeling comfortable with putting them on a camera on their own without that supervisor right behind them, coaching them. And even, to this point, to this day, even with paid operators, we're still coaching over comms, and we're still giving, we're still critiquing things as we go forward. But that's kind of the base of how we're training people.
Yeah, I mean, secretly, we try to make some strategic opportunities for our volunteers to serve, to get hired on our team, and to become integrated as a part of our team. We're definitely looking at less about skill and more about, do you carry the same worship culture, and is that like a true priority for you? And so if you carry that same heart for worship, there's a good chance you'll be invited in at some point.
I think I'd always say this, and would be like, skill is trainable, but the heart posture and the work ethic isn't always as easy to train as we can train how to run a camera. The entire production department staff, at least when I was overseeing it all, we had 32 staff members, and that include included audio and video. And it was split pretty down the line 50-50 with about 15 and 15 audio and video members.
There's a lot of camera manufacturers out there. Why have you guys settled primarily on Red?
We started using Red one camera back in 2017, but in 2019 we did a full live stream on all Reds. We had 12 Red Ravens that we live streamed on from Los Angeles and from Dallas during our Heaven Come conference in both those locations. And typically we had actually used Blackmagic before and some Sony before that. And Blackmagic, it's fine. It has all the I/O and it works and it fits the budget. But Red, with their color science, with their dynamic range, it just brought this creativity just in how it looks to what we were shooting. I think that first Heaven Come, we were all like, wow, this makes us want to shoot more, just with seeing how good the image quality looked. And we've grown a ton since then. And ever since the Komodo launched, now they're hitting that Ursa Mini price point with a red body, and you still get that red color science and that dynamic range that Red traditionally offers. And so it's part of bringing the cinema to the broadcast was, well, I think we need to start using cinema cameras, not traditional broadcast cameras, to achieve what we're trying to achieve.
Absolutely agree. I'd want to point out that, as far as our decision for Red really comes from this bigger picture of vision, right? What's the vision we have for our broadcast? Being at Bethel, we have this opportunity to be on a global stage in the church space where we have influence, in the body. And, we take that really serious. Like, it's a humbling thing. It's quite the privilege, but we recognize that we have an influence in the world of worship and praise. And that's, a big thing of what we're known for. And we wanted to, as much as we love our staff, we want cameras that empower the creativity that we have, recognizing we serve these external people as well as our local church. We're not ignorant to that fact, but we wanted something that would empower us to make creative decisions. So, we traditionally used a lot of Blackmagic, and we were really thankful for that season. It was a beautiful, beautiful transition from broadcast into a cinema experience, but we were ready to take something further to the next level. And the biggest barrier for us was really just color. It was really color science. It was just the quality of hardware. You stick them side by side, and yeah, they look pretty close, but it's in the details. It's in the details where you see the real differences, and we want to we take it serious how we're leading people visually, and we were ready to go to the next level, and Red provided that.
You mentioned quality. I think part of that is support. Ross is also the same way with their support. Red's the same way. Traditionally with Blackmagic, not to, say anything negative about them, but the support and the customer service isn't, top notch. Versus Red, anytime we've had any questions, any issues, Red's right there to answer them or fix the issues for us. And so the support on top of the quality of the camera is huge for us.
One of the unexpected benefits of being in a position like we are, just to have this attention of the world, for me is I now have credibility. I get to speak with other vendors and talk to manufacturers, and my voice has some weight, and it's special. It's awesome. I'm employing the world of business to build the products I want for his church. Which is pretty. I mean, that's an exciting, privileged position to be in. And one of the things I love is Red actually wants to hear our feedback. They actually listen to our requests, and we represent a part of the market that not a lot of manufacturers understand or have figured out how to get into this market. And to be able to be motivated by this mission of bringing an encounter to the world, we're able to coach these companies into building their equipment the way that helps us accomplish that mission. And it's really amazing to see Red being so responsive and willing to listen, and they're relatively a small company. And I think it's amazing and wise of them. And they're starting to, they're receptive to everything that we offer. I think there's a lot of people who try to emulate us, and our biggest asset is definitely our worship culture. That's what we're known for. We're also known for our supernatural culture, but that makes Bethel known. What makes Bethel production known is how we basically have no real budget. We actually operate just like any other small local church, and we're making do with what we have. And I think a lot of our success is because it's our relentless pursuit of top quality, not just quality, but making sure we do it in a way that still worships and glorifies God. Our motivation is it's unwavering. We want to worship through our craft, and we're not using big budgets to do it. And that's, most people are always surprised by that, but we don't have big budgets. We just have really big hearts.
And I think the other part of Bethel production, and even why we started the YouTube channel and all that stuff, is to help empower other churches out there. And we're trying to set the framework of, this is what we have, this is what we're accomplishing with what we have, and you as another church can accomplish this as well. And there's a lot of churches that spend a lot of money, and Bethel we're very thankful for the money that we have been able to spend and the gear that we do have, but it is not like some of these other mega churches out there, and we're still accomplishing what we are, and getting the viewership that we are. And so we're trying to help empower other creators and other churches that you can also do the same thing.
I think too, one of the big shifts, we're not just a bunch of worshipers, we're also, I always train my team. It's like, if you're on this team, you're a leader. And so we require our people to conduct themselves in that way. And it definitely changes the narrative within our team, where we expect more from them because we know that they have more to offer. And so one of the things is volunteers, typically in a volunteer culture, you just kind of beg and hope that the volunteers show up when they're scheduled. And you're just thankful that they operate a camera. And if that's what they're willing to do, then that's great. But when you treat your volunteers as just a temporary solution to a problem you have, you're not really serving people. And we require more of our people because we recognize that they are leaders, but we're also pastoring. Like, we want them to have a legitimate relationship with the Lord. We care about who they are, how they're doing. And all of that stuff is it's such an interesting space, coming from the contractor world where I just 1099 everybody, to a church space where I'm now having to manage a team and care for their hearts and care for their health and all these other relational aspects. It's amazing. But, to build anything without building people first is probably not kingdom. And so if we're not building people up first, we're not building God's kingdom. And that's the same thing with volunteers. If you're just treating them as a cog in that wheel, you're not building people. And so our team is a very strong and healthy team that really holds each other accountable because we have similar values, and we value relationship, and we value being connected, and the things that people don't really talk about, those things are so vital to everything that we do. I think the other thing too is passion. Like, one of the things is we're tired. Like, a lot of us work really hard. We work all week doing production. It's not an easy job. And one of the jokes that we always talk about is like, how do we have enough energy? And I always tell people, I'm running on passion, not energy. Because when you're aligned with what you're doing, with your vision, when you have that mission and you're carrying that passion, you are tapping into a whole different level of energy that honestly is not of this world sometimes. I would say thank you to Octane. Octane's been a fantastic AVL integrator. I've been privileged to help and serve with that team as well. One of the reasons why Drake moved from Bethel to work with Octane full time, honestly, is because Octane really carries a similar heart to Bethel to serve other churches. They're a great company that with a mission that really aligns with a lot of the values that Bethel Production represents. And honestly, he's in a position where he's trying to serve others and help other people as well. So
we treat Octane as a ministry, ultimately. And our goal is to serve the church and help empower the church. And, we got tired of people, churches getting taken advantage of. And, we're here to help empower and serve the church in what we do. And that's with, audio, video, lighting, integrations, and training. But that's our mission, is to help serve the church.
All right. Well, thank you guys for sharing. This has been great. Again, we've been talking with Jesse Maitland with Bethel Church and Drake Kelch, formerly with Bethel Church, now with Octane AVL. So again, thank you guys for sharing, and thank you to our viewers for joining us today.